Hey guys, welcome to my second video, and today we're going to be talking about the 15 win challenge. So I think the 15 win challenge is probably the best challenge that Supercell has made, just because you get so many rewards. Especially as a free-to-play player, you can kind of really get a lot of progression in through beating the challenge, and I also think it's not that hard to get 15 or 14 wins. And so kind of with this in mind, a lot of it depends, especially fast wins, depends on your team comp. So today we're going to go over a few really good team comps for the 5 game modes. So in Gem Grab, the team mode that works the best is the brawler that works the best is probably Rico, just because he can really easily control lanes, and there's so many walls, so you can just do a lot of really cool bounce shots. And so the other brawler that I think is really good is Ems. And I think Ems is really good just because she can control the center really well. And I think that's really important in this map specifically because there's like 3 lanes. So if you can get all 3 lanes controlled, then you can spawn trap your opponent and end the game. And so yeah, so here we just easily won the game. They really didn't pick up any gems. And that's how all your maps should turn out. And so in Brawl Ball, we found this comp to work really well. So it's Nita, Ems, and Rosa. So first I'm going to talk about Nita just because that's probably my favorite brawler in the game right now. And I really like to use her because, in this map specifically because of her peek shots, if you can peek with Nita really well, like kind of, basically you can go through walls, but I'll bring that more in another video. But Nita, if you can peek with peek shot using her, she works really well. And yeah, just not hide behind walls, but use walls to your advantage, especially going against tanks and ranged characters. And so the next brawler that works really well is Ems, and just like the other mode, it's really good to use Ems just because she can't really go at you, or you can't really kind of go into an M, so a lot of brawlers can't really counter her, especially good in this map like tanks. You can't really go into an Ems, and that's what I find so good about her. And we also chose to use a tank here. So we used Rosa in this mode just because Rosa is so tanky, and you can really take out a lot of other kind of matchups. Even like Nita and Max, if there was a Max, she would be really good against them and other tanks. And kind of in Bounty now. So Bounty, you just really want to use range in my opinion, and also Ems works again. And I tried Bow just because I thought Bow would be good, but after playing kind of 3 rounds with Bow, I found that you don't really need a Bow, just because if you have someone like a Brock on your team, then you can pretty much stop all kind of, I guess, from tanks from advancing, just because if you can get both of these main kind of grass lane controlled, then they can't really charge at you. But the one thing that I'd be scared of if you're just using range like us is Tick. Just because he has a better control than even like Brock or Bo, and it's hard to deal with both of them. And kind of the other thrower is also Sprout, but Sprout, the thing is, I don't know. I don't think you're gonna run into a lot in this one, specifically just because he's so new and not a lot of people have him, right? But he's really annoying if you face one, and I think that's why you should bring a thrower, like probably bring a Tick just to deal with Sprout, but you can still see that without a thrower, you can still win the challenge pretty easily. And even like if you're not as good but you have a good team like me, just play Bow, because Bow, you're really kind of controlling, at least trying to control. In my case, you're trying to control the other enemy, and it's a lot easier to do. It's a lot easier to play than probably like Brock. Your Brock really, I think, needs to carry the team and kind of get all the kills, just because I think he probably has the easiest time doing the most damage and also having the most chances to get the kills in. And yeah, so you can see it's a pretty easy win, and also you don't really need to do a lot of work if you're playing Bow. And yeah, so the second game we ran into 8-Bits, and 8-Bits, I don't really know why you would play him in this mode, just because 8-Bit is kind of weak in my opinion. Like, he obviously has the range, but he just isn't as effective at getting good damage in because he is so slow, and that's part of the reason why I don't like playing 8-bit. And yeah, so you can see with bow, especially with bow mines, you want to place them you want to be cautious when you place them. You don't want to place them too far away, but you want to place them at a distance where people will actually go right. And also because also I find even if they see you place your bow mines, they'll still usually get hit by them, just because it's hard to dodge bow mines, I find sometimes. So it's like, don't worry if people see you place bow mines, but it's obviously better if they don't see you. Yeah, so you can see with bow, I'm just trying to protect my Brock, so because he has all of the stars, and I'm just controlling the enemy, preventing them from going into, I guess, me. And it's really similar if you're playing Spike. It's kind of like the same thing of that control with your ult, but with bow I find it's better just because his bow mines last until other people step in them. And with your totem too, it's very effective, I find, especially if you're going into if you have a comp that requires people to have their ults, like Tara. If you could even play Tara if you have your totem, just because her ult really can really get a lot of opponents down. And yeah, so the totem you just want to place in a place where you just want to place the totem in an area where they can't really hit it, because then, well, they won't get it down then. That's good. But yeah, so you can see it's pretty easy or still for bounty, just because I guess the matchmaking is a little bit easier. But heist is, I think, where it gets a little bit challenging, just because with this heist map, just a lot of combos work. So there's a little bit of gambling you need to do, just because some comps might completely counter your team and make it really hard for winning. And especially here's a good case of that, where our comp isn't that good for this against these opponents, because I'm not exactly the best Mike. I was mostly playing Mike just to test him out, or I tried to see if he was a shadow or not, because that's what appeared in my loading screen. So I tried to see if I could get a completely black Mike, because it's really cool, and I just wanted to test it out. But Mike still works really well, especially I don't think you need a double jump like a lot of the videos of Mookie Bear or other really good mics. You don't really need to double jump. If you can do some really good single jumps, that's also really good. And you just want to be I find with Mike, you just want to be as annoying as possible. But yeah, for this heist map, I don't really have a preferred combo, but if you have a tank like a Bull and a thrower, preferably Barley, I find he probably works the best as a thrower if you're not good at double jumping. And also someone like a Nita. I think Nita is really important for defense, and that's what you want to do as Nita. You just want to defend against attacks, because his bear is really good for attack and defense. So if you can get enough charge for your ult, you can also go in, and he's probably one of the better attackers too, but only when you have your ult. And so you can see here, you kind of want to push as a team, because you can do the most damage that way. And with Nita, you just try to bait until you get your ult again. And you can see here that when I get my ult, it's game over, and that gadget also is really good for Nita. And so Siege was probably my most disliked mode, especially in this area, just because of Sprout and Jackie. I don't really like those brawlers because they're just really annoying to play against. And you see we have a Sprout, but this is just because our teammate just got Sprout and wanted to play with him, and we thought that was cool, so we let him play Sprout. But Sprout is probably the best option on this map, just because he has such a crazy, I think, control ability. So, but to counter Sprout, I think right now the best counter is Tick. If you can play Tick well, you can really get Sprout down. So I think that might be something you want to try out in Siege, just because you may be running into Sprouts and you may be having a hard time. So you can see we all go in, and this turned out to be a small miscalculation, because we weren't able to get the safe down, but it's fine. We had a Darrow just to be able to pick up the quick kill. And yeah, so Darrow is also really good, especially if you can, because you can rush in and take out 4% or 10% sometimes, and that's obviously important if you have a few health left to finish off. So in the last map I played Colt, and I really regretted it just because he's not really good in this map. Well, in my opinion, he might be a really good Colt and that could work, but yeah. You can see here I tried to take out M's, but I got too trigger happy and ended up dying, so yeah, not a really good experience with Colt. But yeah, so you can see there M's works really well, and I think in all the maps today, if you have M's, then that might be what you want to play, because she is really good right now. Probably in the meta, she is really meta right now, and it's really hard to beat her, especially because of her gadget. It prevents a lot of people from kind of going into you, especially tanks, and yeah, it's just not a good time. And here you can just see why you don't auto aim, because I might have been able to take out the siege, but I just didn't because I auto aimed, and that's why you don't want to auto aim all the time. Yeah, but when you end up winning again because of Daryl, he can just charge in really well. And yeah, so I think a good team would be if you have either Tick or Sprout and a Daryl and also a Rosa, or M's, just because I feel like tanks and doors work really well for this map. But I don't know, it's probably the hardest map just because I've tried it on my mini account. I got to 14 wins and we literally lost all 4 games inside of Siege, so it's pretty challenging and very kind of, I don't know, it wasn't that fun. But I'm just gonna do one more game here. As you see, I just wanted to test out Shadow Colt because I knew he'd be patched pretty soon. I don't know, Supercell just didn't, I don't know, I think it was just a small glitch, but yeah, Supercell already fixed it. But it was pretty cool while it lasts, and I hope they make something kind of, I guess maybe for Halloween, this could be really cool if they made this into a skin. But yeah, and that's why you don't run into Mike's, and especially I think if he had this demolition star power, he probably would have killed me. So yeah, don't run into Mike's with their ult. And yeah, I just camp for a little bit and I wait until people come to me, because especially if you have 7 power-ups, it's hard to lose the game no matter who you're playing. Yeah, so I get a really good kind of burst there, and we're down to our last 2. And here it's just Shelly, so I know I basically can kill her with quite easily. And there, so we just ended the game, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you great luck on your 15 win challenge.